Welcome to Math 218. My name is Brian Fitzpatrick. I'll be your instructor this fall. So one of the most important things for all my students to know is the URL for my webpage. It's very simple, bfits.xyz. That's where the vast majority of information you need about the course is contained. The next most important thing is my email address. The correct email address to contact me at is bfitzpat@math.duke.edu. There are other Brian Fitzpatricks on campus, so if you're not careful typing in the correct email address, you may think you're sending something to me, but in reality, maybe you're not. Now, I will be running the course. The course is partitioned into lecture components and discussion components. Each of you, in addition to be registered for one of the lectures, is also registered for a discussion component, which is run by one of our discussion instructors. We also have additional staff who will offer office hours. Those are the teaching assistants whose office hours are advertised here. Now, let's go to a calendar. So what you're looking at here is a week in your life as far as this course is concerned. Everything is organized week by week. So on Monday morning, the same thing will happen every week throughout the semester. At 6 a.m., there will be lessons released on the course webpage. Every lesson has a quiz associated to it and a problem set associated to it. Throughout the week, we will work on the lessons posted on the course webpage in lecture. Each of you is registered for one of the lectures, meeting Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Now, the deadline for all of the material released Monday morning is the following Tuesday night at 11:30 p.m. So that's the quiz deadline and the problem set deadline. I'll say more about those assignments in a moment. In addition to being registered for a lecture, you are also registered for a discussion. There are lots of discussion sections. Those all meet on Thursdays. So week to week, your life, as far as this course is concerned, is more or less exactly the same. So by week 2 or 3, I think we'll establish a routine. Everything from then on is completely predictable. Now, what about grades? There are several categories that contribute to your grade in the course. Let's start with the first 8%, which is your performance on the comprehension quizzes. So, like I said a moment ago, every lesson that we work through has a quiz associated to it. The quiz is inside of GradeScope. So you take the quiz inside of GradeScope. You're absolutely encouraged to collaborate with your peers and seek help during office hours, but the deadline is hard-coded, 11:30 p.m. every following Tuesday night. Problem sets can also be found in GradeScope, but the way you interact with them is slightly different. These are templated PDFs. It is your responsibility to either print each problem set, write your solutions on paper, and then scan and upload to GradeScope by the deadline. Or for those of you who do your work on tablets, I generally find that people do actually very nice work on tablets, so you can feel free to write your solutions on the PDF in your tablet and then upload to GradeScope by the deadline. Again, collaboration is absolutely encouraged. That's what we're all here for. But I do require that you write your own original solutions to problems, so no plagiarizing. Of course, the deadline, 11:30 p.m. the following Tuesday, is hard-coded. I do not accept late work. The next 10% is your attendance in discussion. So every Thursday you need to show up to discussion and be a productive member in discussion. And your attendance there and your completion of the work in discussion is the next 10%. Now, if for whatever reason you have an emergency and you can't make your discussion, the proper protocol here would be to email me. So make sure you email me, preferably ahead of time if you can. Of course, if something happens in the moment, just make sure that you contact me as soon as you possibly can. We'll figure out how to take care of your excused discussion. The next 42% of your grade is your performance on the 3 midterm exams. Those will take place during lecture time, and the dates are noted here. So remember, there are 3 of them. They all occur on Fridays. And then finally, the last 32% of your grade is your performance on the final exam. This is a 3-hour cumulative exam that takes place on December 14th from 2 p.m. till 5 p.m. We don't have a room for that for the final yet, but once we get the room assigned to us by the university, I'll make sure it's well advertised. My policy in terms of excused midterm exams, I don't offer make up midterms. Instead, my policy is that your performance on the final exam would replace your excused midterm. Wonderful. For those of you receiving accommodations through SDAO, please take note of this slide. If that doesn't mean anything to you, then you don't need to worry about it. In terms of resources, nearly everything you need for the course can be found on the course webpage. Remember, the URL for my personal website is bfits.xyz. At the top of the webpage, you'll find a link to Math 218. Once you click the link, this will take you to the webpage for the course. I'll walk you through that briefly in a moment here. In terms of additional resources, everything I'm lecturing from occurs in class, and I will always post my notes to the webpage. I'm not lecturing out of a textbook, but that being said, if you feel like you would like an additional resource, the classic reference here is Gilbert Strang's Introduction to Linear Algebra. I don't post problems from here, and I'm not lecturing out of here, but it is a classic resource, so if you feel like you want some extra material, you could go ahead and look for this book. What about getting help? There is a lot of opportunity to receive help in this course. Not only will I be offering office hours throughout the week, but each of the discussion leaders offers office hours. The TAs for the course offer office hours. There's a help room, and the Academic Resource Center also offers office hours. So as of today, which is the day before the first day of class, here's what the weekly office hours will look like. Of course, this might be subject to change once the term starts rolling along and maybe edge cases come up and schedules shift a little bit. But for the most part, this is an accurate representation of what weekly office hours will look like. Now, I have expectations of all of my students, and these come in two flavors, academic and behavioral. In terms of academics, especially for first-year students, there are some things that I think are important to be mindful of. One of the most important things about a college course, especially one like this one, is that you keep pace. So we are working through lessons throughout the week. The most healthy way for you to interact with the material is for you to interact with the problem sets and quizzes as we work through the material. Just because the deadline for material is on Tuesday night does not mean you should be saving your work for Monday or Tuesday. You should be working on everything throughout the week, so don't procrastinate. I also expect that you participate. Attendance in my lectures is not optional. I expect that you show up. I like to ask lots of questions in lecture, so things are working well when people are asking questions. It is also to your benefit to not be shy and show up to office hours. Communication is important. If you do find yourself falling behind, it's way better for you to reach out to me sooner rather than later. I'd way rather have a discussion with you about catching up on material in week 3 than I would in like week 11. Once we hit week 11, it might be a lot more difficult to catch up. But we can definitely adjust habits earlier on in the semester. So don't feel shy in reaching out to me. Another important thing about college math is part of the maturation process here is learning to write coherent solutions to problems. One thing you're going to find about this course is that the answers-focused mindset in math tend to be downplayed as we start to get more advanced. What's more important is the process of approaching a problem rather than the answer to a specific problem. The answer is very often just the last step of a more important process. So writing will be a more important part of this course than perhaps you might have seen in previous math courses. I also have behavioral expectations. We do more things on the internet these days, like email and Zoom meetings and stuff. It's very easy to forget that there's always another person on the end of your internet communication. Just make sure you're always being nice. And this dovetails nicely into my second point here, which is be patient. From time to time, perhaps you notice a typo in my slides, or maybe there's a misunderstanding of a policy, some policy or something like that. These are all things that I take seriously and want to take care of as they come up. But the proper way to take care of these things is to be patient. So send me a nice note, say, hey, I think there might be a typo, and I'm very happy to deal with that. I would far rather receive a nice, nicely worded email than some sort of vitriolic one. Also, be humble. I'm assuming that no one in this course has ever seen a matrix before, so we're starting more or less from scratch. On the other hand, some of you may have seen some of this material before, maybe a little bit of it, but I always find that it's better for those students who think they've seen some of the material before to approach the course as if they haven't, because you might find that the way that we are presenting material is kind of designed to be packaged in a way that we move toward the goals of this course, and that might be done in a way that was different in whatever forum you think you've seen the material before. So be humble here. And the last thing is to remember that the point of taking this class is to learn linear algebra. It's so easy to get distracted by the weekly requirements of problem sets and quizzes and discussions and exams, and kind of forget that the whole reason we're all here is to learn more about linear algebra. I've been doing this course for a very long time. I'm a mathematician by training and trade, and every time I teach this course, I learn something new about linear algebra. Okay, great. So that's all I have to say about my welcome material here. I would like to now move over to my website and just give you a brief overview here. So remember, the URL for my website is very simple, bfits.xyz. If you go to the top of the page here and click Math 218, this will take you to the home page of the course. So notice the title of the course up here, and to the right of the title of the course, you'll find these buttons that you can click. The first button is this list emoji. This is just the list of topics that we'll be working through week to week. Remember, new topics show up every Monday morning. To the right of the list emoji is this calendar icon. This is an embedded Google Calendar organizing all of the important dates and times for the course. So if you ever have a question of the form, when or where does a certain thing happen, this is the place you should consult. To the right of the calendar emoji, there's a Zoom icon. You can click there for my Zoom office hours, which I do every Tuesday morning. To the right of the Zoom icon is a link to Gradescope. To the right of the Gradescope icon is the course policy sheet. So if you click on this, this will take you to the more official course policy sheet. And to the right of that icon is a folder. Here I have a repository of a bunch of my old exams along with solutions. So you might find those to be useful study tools as you study for your midterms. If you click back to the list emoji, this takes you back to the homepage for the course. One thing that I want you to notice here is that every topic is clickable. If you click on any particular topic, that will take you to the slides or whatever material I'm using to lecture from in lecture. So for example, the welcome slides are easily available here. Every topic has some resources associated to it. Normally, this will be a supplemental YouTube video that you could click on to see me lecturing through the material. Of course, this should be used only as a supplement. This is not a substitute for attending class. Remember, class attendance is mandatory. And then very often I will post this blue icon. This blue icon is called SAGE. This is a computer algebra system that can help you with calculations. So I think that's a pretty good overview of the course. Of course, there's a lot more to say, but this might be a good cutoff. So I look forward to seeing all of you tomorrow. Bye-bye.